book nerds, welcome to my channel. So I'm trying out a couple of new things today. Firstly, I'm trying out my ring light because winter is coming and I need to learn to use this thing. So let me know what you think of the lighting. Hopefully it's not too bad. Ignore my incredibly shiny face, it is not a makeup day. But yeah, if you could let me know if this lighting is okay, that would be great. If you have any tips on how to improve it as well, I'd appreciate that. The other new thing I'm trying is I thought I would do a reaction video. So I wanted to do this for a while, but I couldn't think of what was a good one to do, and I realised that I do not remember anything about 2018 because that was so long ago. So I thought it'd be really fun if I did two reaction videos. The first one reacting to my best books of 2018 and one reacting to my worst books of 2018 because I don't remember anything that was on that list, so that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to pop in my headphones and start watching. Hey nerds, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to film my favourite books of 2018. The way I'm doing this is I was originally going to try and do top 10 lists. Looks so much better with makeup.
My least favourite books, my most disappointing books, and my most surprising books. I'm still vaguely following that kind of pattern, but I couldn't make all the lists top 10, so this one is a top 10, but all the other ones are going to be random numbers, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm not going to add books to the list.
I'm actually going to have to break out my glasses for this.
So I thought I'd start off with the positive, and I'm going to just talk about all my favourite books that I've read this year. This isn't just going to be my highest rated books. There are a lot of books that I gave 4 stars, particularly thrillers, but when I came to the end of the year and I went to review through them, I couldn't remember what they were about, so while I really enjoyed them when I was reading them, they haven't made this list because they're not my favourite books. The first book is the Meet Cute anthology.
Meet
by
Cute?
Jennifer L. Armentrout was the person who edited it, I believe. So this barely made my list, but I gave it, I think, 3.5 stars, and this is what I mean about them not necessarily being my highest rated books, but there were just some stories in this book that I absolutely loved, and if anyone ever asks me for romantic recommendations, I immediately just think of this book. It was such a nice fluffy read. I read it back in February as well, I think. About maybe not half, but almost half of the stories were queer in some way. There's a wide variety of scenarios that the characters meet through.
It was tough in 2018.
A lot of the stories I didn't really connect with, but the ones that I did connect with I really loved. And my absolute favourite story, which is Oop from this collection, I can still remember in vivid detail because I loved it that much. So that is why that is on this list. The next book is also an anthology, and it's Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, edited by April Genevieve Tutsogi.
Ah, okay, now that is a classic. I've reread that.
This actually was, in a rare case, for me, a perfect anthology. I gave it 5 stars. Realistically, most people probably give it 4 or 4.5, but it was just so up my alley that I couldn't rate it any lower. This is a collection of kind of spooky themed stories. They're not really... A few of them are quite scary. They're all just kind of general horror, young adult short stories, but they're all so creative.
They're horror. They are horror. I don't know why
I just had an absolute ball reading the anthology. They all flowed together really well, which is, again, rare in anthologies, I find. So it basically felt like I was reading stories all written by the same author, even though each author still brought their own unique voice into it, and you could tell, like, it wasn't a bad thing that they all sounded the same. It was like it was written cohesively and created together as a project, which I really loved. I'd definitely recommend this if you like horror. Even if you don't like horror, I would give it a try, potentially, because none of them are really gruesome or graphic. There was only about 2 short stories in the entire collection.
My skin is definitely healthier now, but it looks better on camera there. A, because of makeup, and B, because I just like dried the shit out of it.
The next book I've talked about before in my channel, and that is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I read this in, I think it was April.
Heart-Shaped Box, again, a classic. I stand by this list.
Who used to be like a famous rock star, and now he's still pretty wealthy and well known, but he's no longer making music and he's a little bit washed up. And he has a habit of collecting things from the occult, and one day on an eBay type site he sees a ghost for sale and he decides to buy it. And that's all I'm going to say about it. There is a plot element early on that I could reveal, but it's not revealed by the blurb, but I didn't know about it, and I thought it was quite a nice early on surprise, so I'm just not going to say anything about that. But needless to say, the ghost is real, and things just start happening to this man. This was a really well written horror story. It's one of the few books that has genuinely scared me a little bit. I don't get scared by horror books. I read a lot of Stephen King, as you can tell, and only one of his books has ever scared me. Joe Hill is actually his son, and this was terrifying.
I wish I had them here.
It's written really well, and I just wanted to know what was going to happen next. I couldn't predict anything. It's not written like Stephen King, so you should be aware of that going in, but there's certain elements where you can tell that he was raised by Stephen King, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is just a fantastic ghost story. Speaking of Stephen King, we have a book from him, and it's actually a novella, and it is The Long Walk, which was written under his pseudonym, Richard Basham.
Long Walk. If you know my channel, you know that's one of my favourite books of all time. So again,
this year. This is how much I enjoyed this.
Classic
the first time
on the
I gave it
list.
4 out of 5 stars, and the second time I bumped up to 5 stars because it had been like 3 months and I wanted to reread it. This is incredibly short. I think it's like 180 pages on my Kindle. This is about a dystopian world, and in this world there is a contest called The Long Walk, and teenage boys sign up. I think you have to be 18 maybe, somewhere around that age. They volunteer, it's entirely voluntary, no one's forced to do this, and all they have to do is outwalk everyone else. If the boys stop, they will be shot. They get 3 warnings and then they get killed. If they collapse for whatever reason, again they get shot after the 3 warnings. They just have to walk and walk and walk. Next we have a thriller which I actually read really early on in the year, and I forgot to put it near the start of this list, but it is The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine.
Interesting. The Last Mrs. Parrish.
Has a little bit of a story to it.
Wow.
So If you've read The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and another author who I can't remember unfortunately, but I'll pop it down below in the description box. But if you've read that book, you don't need to read this book.
Don't need to read it.
Essentially, these two books have the exact same plot. They're both thrillers, and they both have the same shocking twist. And I read them both within like a couple of weeks of each other. And The Last Mrs. Parrish was the one I read second. I'd already read The Wife Between Us and loved it. But The Last Mrs. Parrish didn't shock me because obviously it has the same twist. But I still really enjoyed reading it, and I do think it's the better of the two because it has better character development. It's got more interesting plot elements beyond the twist. So this is the one that I recommend. But if you have read The Wife Between Us, you won't get as much out of reading this, unfortunately. And you might find it a bit derivative, even though I think The Last Mrs. Parrish came off first. We have another thriller, and I was a little unsure about adding it to this list, but on reflection I thought I definitely do want to add it. I do remember a lot of detail about it and I did really enjoy it, and that is The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. This is a thriller. It's about
Ruth Ware, The Death of Mrs. Westaway. I guess this should be on the list. I guess it's a decent enough book. Would I say it's a favourite? I guess that may have not been a great year for reading. It's got a good gothic vibe actually. I do quite like it. It's just a bit, I don't know, something lacking.
And try and claim the money. When she gets to this house, it's this massive gothic mansion, and all the family's a little bit weird, and stuff just starts happening that you'd expect to happen in a thriller. It's really, really engaging. It's so atmospheric with the setting. I particularly liked it because it reminded me a lot of Agatha Christie. It doesn't have the same strength of the mystery element to it. Yeah. The next book is actually a sequel, and that is Shiny Broken Pieces, which is the sequel to Tiny Pretty Things, both by Shona Chiraipotra. I've probably pronounced that wrong as well, I'm sorry.
You know what, I want to reread these soon,
because I'm not going to do any cross. I'm not going to put things on the same list.
I don't really remember them. I know I remember it being like a really, really good dance book. I forgot that was on my favourites list though. And yeah, I don't really remember any of the plots, so that would be good to reread those actually.
Thriller? I guess it kind of is a thriller, but it's not really. I think it's better if you think of more of a young adult contemporary with dark or more intense elements. This really caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, but it's got such a good cast of characters. It's got really good switching points of view, and you get to understand all the characters really well, and as things develop, you kind of change. So the next book is also a sequel, and that is Thunderhead.
Thunderhead.
I have actually talked about this
Oh
before
my
on this channel several
god,
times,
I
so
read
I'm not going into
Thunderhead in
massive detail.
2018. Oh god, I need to reread it because I really want to read The Toll. I just haven't, mainly because I don't really remember what happened in Thunderhead and I don't really remember what happened in Scythe, so I need to reread the whole set of them, and they're quite long, so I don't know when I'm going to do that. But I can't believe that was 2018, that was ages ago. Wow, what is time?
I really like the direction the plot took, and it's the second of a trilogy, and yet the ending, without again, no spoilers, but the ending was impactful, and I'm so excited for the third one. I can't wait, it comes out next year, and I'm just going to get it as soon as it comes out.
You're going to get it, but not read it.
And this is Forest of 1,000 Lanterns by Julie C. Dow, I always forget the C. This was another surprise. I read this for the full time
Forest of 1,000 Lanterns, I was so into that.
I absolutely loved it.
I talk about that all the time on my channel, and I've never read the sequel, because why would I read the sequel? I don't do that. But yeah, no, I was into that. That's another one I should reread, because then I can read the sequel, which is apparently worse than the first one, but I really liked the first one. But yeah, I forgot, I literally talked about that all the time. I should have remembered that.
Really good side characters, bar one. There's only one I didn't like, and that was a love interest. And it was just, the magic system's really cool. I like the entire world building thing. I still have yet to read the sequel, and I'm a little apprehensive about the sequel because it changes focus to the Snow White character, and I don't really think I'll be as engaged with that, but I'm definitely going to read it. I am still excited to read it.
I'm definitely going to read it.
Even if you don't think you like
some
fantasy, because I
point
didn't think
in
I would
2 years'
I
time.
absolutely love this. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's a really solid fantasy story, and I really enjoyed reading it. Final book I don't think anyone will have heard of, and this is Fantasticland. This is a book about
Fantasticland! Oh my god, that was the top of my list. I mean, I guess it wasn't in order, but Fantasticland is a really great horror book, and I'm going to say this a lot now, but I want to reread it, shockingly. It was on like Kindle Unlimited, and it was just a really cool type of book. I want to see if it lives up to the hype, because I really, really liked it when I read it, and I've read a lot more horror and a lot more independent horror since then. So I'd be really curious to see if I still really love that. But yeah, I'm going to take my glasses off now because it hurts when I wear them and look at the screen. But, and also my headphones, there we go. But yeah, that was my first ever reaction video. Let me know what you thought. I hope it wasn't a hopeless mess. But yeah, I'm gonna also react to my worst one. So I don't know if I should do that in one video or I'll do it in the next one. Yeah, I'll post it as a separate video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, it helps me out massively. Let me know if there's any reaction videos. I mean, I guess a lot of people didn't watch my early videos, so you probably won't know what I would like what would be good to react to, but I did a couple of videos where it's like favourite horror books or favourite thrillers or worst thrillers that I could react to that I won't remember what the content is. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.